visual arts still serve an important purpose. They convey that you're not alone. There are other people. There are people all over the world who have things to say. And whether it's graffiti on the side of a building, or a great novel, or a spectacular film, or a piece of sculpture, there are big things or small things that artists want to say, they want to share. I mean, no one does it and puts it in a room and doesn't show it. Artists don't exist in a vacuum. They exist so they can share what they've created, and it allows you to get in touch, or maybe not get in touch with what they have to say through what they've actually created. I go back and forth, I go hot and cold on the immediacy of the image in today's visual arts, only in that there seems to be a lot more quicker processing going on. There's faster editing. Things are rolled out a lot faster than how I came up to the system. It seems that now you've got to process things quicker. So the image is there, it's on camera, there's quick editing. Things seem to be a little more flashy than they used to be. There's not that time taking to tell a story or to let things sink in, to let that emotion sort of roll into you. But on the other hand, the new technology allows you to get things across quicker, different means of expression. It's just a different means of storytelling. So if you look at movies today as opposed to movies, say, back 20, 30 years ago, faster editing, different camera techniques, and just things seem to be a lot quicker. They come at you a lot faster than they used to. You know, sex and violence are the popular images that have been rechanneled through the entertainment industry for a million years, and they will continue to be rechanneled, you know, into the future in perpetuity. The human form, as beautiful or as ugly as it is still an artistic sort of palette that people are always going to go to. Violent images, whether they're, you know, hardcore violence or sort of metaphorical violence, those are always going to be there. So I think the painter, the filmmaker, the writer of every scope, they're always going to go back to those classic forms. Sex and violence sells. Sex and violence has a way of tapping into people. It lets them sort of identify immediately with those feelings or with those images. You know, the image of the perfect, I think, has a lot more power now than it ever has. Everything has to be beautiful. The human form has to be something that is an idealization that most people will probably never really see in their lifetime, but you see it in advertisements, you see it in the movies, you see it in works of art. I think everything now seems to have much more color and much more depth. There's sort of a dimension to it that in the real world doesn't really exist, but it sells. It looks good under the bright lights. It looks good in the movie theater. It looks good on the canvas. So I think there really is right now there's a move or a direction to continue down that path to make everything so much more perfect, so much more beautiful than it really is. I have several favorite visual artists that have influenced me or that I really can connect with, that make me feel comfortable or challenge me or maybe even anger me at times. I'm a big fan of Cindy Sherman, who's a New York-based photographer. I really like her work. I like what she does in depiction of women in film and women in the arts. She's a favorite. I love Roy Lichtenstein's work because of his incorporation of sort of classical painting with pulpy sort of Art Deco-ish sort of influences. I'm a big fan. I love Art Deco, that Miami-based influence. I just like the colors and the form and the way the functionality seems to flow together on a palette or on a page. Ansel Adams, because I like the zone system of photography. I studied that for a long time. I like the black and white. I like the depth. I like how you can really crawl into a photograph and look at it and look at it and look at it and think you've got it figured out and come back to it maybe years later and realize that you didn't have it figured out. Well, my knowledge of famous artworks has had a definite and continued impact on my creative process in that I'm very comfortable in writing, and it gives me a real joy. It still lets me get in touch with some of the things and some of the styles that I've encountered over a lifetime of reading or going to the movies. So as far as that, you know, being able to sit down and look at the blank piece of paper, I don't suffer from writer's block. I'm able to write, and I think that's because I still maintain a joy of expression. I really like doing it. I think it's important for visual arts to be maintained and promoted and condoned, especially with kids, with young people. I think that's where you really get the good stuff. If you can get people excited about it, if you can expose kids or young people to as many different styles as possible, whether it's painting or watercolor or sculpture or film, poetry, written expression, I think that's where you get that next generation of great filmmaker or novelist or painter, if they can see what the world has to offer and all the different styles. I mean, there's You can get things as varied as, from Art Deco to sort of, classical Rococo, imagery from 400, 500 years back. So, but I think it's really important to maintain that continuity, to get young people engaged in the visual arts, because I think it'll take, and it gives them that opportunity to express themselves and to get in touch with some of these big feelings, these big changes, or things that they want to share with the world, and leave an imprint, leave a footprint.